If you want to become a full stack web developer, you cannot skip the foundations. In this crash course, we are going to master HTML5 from absolute zero. We would not just look at boring theory, we are going to build real world projects like a professional ATS-friendly resume, a registration form, Google search, and everything using nothing but semantic HTML. Here is what we are going to cover in the next hour: the core syntax and structure of HTML, semantic tags and accessibility, how to work with links, images, tables and lists. Moving forward with an HTML project, followed with the forms, input fields, attributes, validation, Google search, registration form and a lot more. And stick around for the bonus section at the end where I will introduce you to the box model so you can start understanding and building your layouts immediately. My name is Qureshi Akil and this is your complete guide to HTML. Let us start with our first section, which is basics of HTML. Hypertext markup language. It is not a programming language, it is a markup language that tells the browser what to show and how to structure the content. Remember that a programming language is different from the markup language. That is what you need to know for now. Every web page you see, whether it is YouTube, Amazon or Google, starts with HTML as its core. It is also the page that started with the same structure where YouTube started, where Amazon started or Google started. So the simple code is the foundation of every website. So let us understand each piece. First of all, we have doc type and HTML tag. What this doc type tag tells the browser is that this is an HTML5 document, which is the latest version of HTML. Then comes the HTML tag. It is like the root container that holds everything inside your web page. Inside it, we usually have two main sections, the head section and the body section. So let us see what the head section contains and what it is. The head tag contains all the information about your web page, not the visible content. So it includes title. The title you see on the web browser's tab. So if you want to see it on your browser, just go to your file and right click on the file, click on copy path. Once you copy the path, go to your browser and type this path or paste it inside your browser and hit enter. It also contains meta tags for description, keywords, encoding and responsiveness. The links to CSS and other files. We will see all of these later. All of these meta tags may not be required, but keeping them there makes it explicit for the browser. The next thing, we have body section. The body tag contains everything visible to the user. Let us start with the basic content tag. So the first thing which we might have in our body tag is the heading tag. For example, we have H1. This is our first tag which will be visible on our page. If we refresh, you will see this page on your browser and it will show you the contents which are inside your body tag. So for now we have H1 and inside that H1 we have this text here. Similarly, we may have more headings, that is for example H2. And here we can see if we refresh the page, we get the heading 2 as well. And also for example we have heading 3. And if we refresh, you can go on and create up to the heading level 6, which will be H6. Proper heading structure helps both users and search engines understand your page hierarchy. So you should not use H3 or H4 instead of a bold text. So for that we have the paragraph tags. So let us move to the paragraph and line breaks next. So this is the paragraph tag, and if we refresh inside our browser, you can see we got the text. And if we want this text to look bold, we will use the strong tag. Take this closing part from here and put it right here. Now this part should be bold. So if we go inside our browser, refresh the page, we can see we have this part here bold. And similarly, we have other things such as line breaks as well. For example, here we do not want this in the same line, we want it on the another line. We can do a line break or even more line breaks. So here if we refresh the page, we can see there is line break which makes it to the next line. You can put any number of line breaks in between the text. Let us now move on to lists. Sometimes we may not need the text like this, we may need more like a list. So for that thing we can use two types of lists. One is the organized list or ordered list we can say, and another one is the unordered list. So in our ordered list we have OL tag. Inside that OL tag we have LI which stands for list item. So for example, first list item would be HTML, and then we may have the CSS, and third list item which may be JavaScript. And similarly, for example, for our unordered list we may have React, Node.js, MongoDB. So let us see how the result comes out to be in our browser. Here we have the ordered list items, we have ordering. But inside our unordered list items, we do not have any order. Instead of keeping it like this, what we can do is we can mention type as 1, which means it should show 1, 2, 3, or we can keep type as A, which means it should show A, B, C. And also we can keep type as this, which will show it this way. So you have a lot of options, and similarly you have here type as circle and it should change it to circle. The next thing we have is the links. So here we can see we have visit my YouTube channel for more tutorials, and we have the A tag where we have all of this. So you can see we have a paragraph tag where we have some text, and then we have the channel name here, and when clicking on this channel name, where should it go, where should it take the user. And this target underscore blank means that we have to open this in another tab. So let us go inside our browser, refresh this page, and see that we have this thing with this link as well. So here when I click on this, you can see it redirected to our channel. If you want more videos from this playlist, you can check it here. We have complete series coming up, and you can support me by subscribing and by sharing this playlist or by sharing this whole channel with your friends. The next thing we have is the image tag. So here we have to enter the URL of the image. Let us copy the image address from here. I can paste the URL I copied from the browser, and here I can put some more attributes. These are called the attributes. Alt, that means if the image is not visible, then what should we see? This is the text what we are going to see. And then we have the width. This shows the size of the image. We will go to this page and refresh it. You can see we have the channel logo here. We can also change it to 100 maybe. Refresh the page and you can see the size changes accordingly. We will see more how we are going to make it look better, but for now remember that this is HTML and it is only the structure of the page, not how it looks. We will change the look and feel of our page with CSS. This alt attribute describes the image and it is important for SEO purpose. So the next thing we have is the table tag. In our table tag, first thing we have is the table head. In our table head, we will have table row. And in the table row, we will have th tag, which will describe the heading. Like first heading we have the title, and the second heading we have the description. And similarly we will have t body, and inside our t body we will have tr. which is table row. Again the same thing which we had here, we have one row, and after that we have table data, and this corresponds to the same things which we have here. The first thing is title, so we have value for title, then we have the description, and here we have the description. Similarly, we will have another title, another description. So how we are going to see it on the page is like this. We have title, description, this is the title and this is description. This does not look like a table. Just in order to make it look like a table, we can do one more thing, which is border, and I keep it 1 for now and refresh and see it now looks more like a table. But these things we are going to look inside the CSS sessions, because that look and feel is for CSS only. The next thing we are going to look at is the form basics. There is a lot to know about forms, but here we are going to just look at the basics. For that purpose, I am going to paste a sample form. We have form tag, inside that we have label, and then we have input. The label corresponds to this input. Why? Because here we have one attribute which is for, and here we have id with the same value. For attribute is used to link the label to the corresponding input. Similarly, we have here for email, and id is email. Let us see these attributes one by one. First of all, we have the type attribute. The type attribute says what type of input this is. It can be of various types. For example, we have type button, checkbox, color, date time, email, and a lot more. But here we need the text input. After that, we have the ID attribute, a unique identity to this input. There will be no element on this page which will have same ID, because ID is always unique. We have name attribute. The name attribute gives this input some name which is used by form. We will see this later. And then we have the required attribute, which means that this field is required. Without it, we cannot submit the form. And then we have the similar input again. This one is email input. So we have type email. If we do not enter a proper email, it will not allow us to submit. And then we have one more input which works like a submit button, because we have type equal to submit. So let us see this form in action inside our browser. I refresh the page and we have this form here, but instantly I see one problem, that there is no gap between the table and the form, which makes it look ugly. For now, what we can do is, after our table tag, we can do one or multiple breaks, and then refresh the page, and you can see now we have some gap in between these two elements. So if we click on subscribe, it will not let us do that, because we have to enter something inside name. You do not need to enter anything, just hit on that subscribe. It will take just a second for you to subscribe, but it motivates me a lot. So here, if I enter the name, so you can see I entered name and I entered email, because both of these are required fields. If I click on subscribe, you can see that we have the validation in place. That is, it does not allow us to submit this form because this is not a valid email. So we have to enter @something.com. So once this is valid email, we can now subscribe and it redirects to the same page, but we will see all these things later on. For now, we do not need to worry what happened. The next is divs and spans. Let us first see div. For that purpose, I am going to write some little piece of CSS, but you do not need to worry about this. It's just if you are following along, if you are typing this along, just type these things. Do not worry what it is. We will see this in the CSS series. So this is our div. Now span. So this is the code which I wrote. First of all, we have a div where we set up some styling with background equal to blurry wood. Then we have the text inside this. And then we have the span tag where we have similar styling, just the color is different. The same structure we are following in the both. Let us now see the difference. And once we refresh the page, let us see the difference. First of all, we have the div. We have this much of text, but it is taking the whole space, whatever is available to it. But for the span, it takes only the space which is required for it. This is known as the block level element, and the span is known as the inline element. The block level elements take all the available space. Inline elements take up the space whatever they need. For example, here we have a div which takes the whole space whatever is available, and for the span it takes only the space whatever is required. So far we learned about some basic tags. Now we are going to know about the semantic HTML. In modern HTML, instead of using many divs, we use semantic elements that describe their purpose. For example, we have a header tag which may contain the top part of the page. For example, logo, navigation, etc. And then we may have the nav tag. This nav tag may contain navigation links such as home, about, contact, etc. Then we have main. Inside this main tag, we keep the main content of the page, and that content may be kept inside the section. For example, we may have section tag for hero section. Similarly, we may have payment section where we may have plans for users. Then we have the article. Inside the article, we keep the independent content like a blog post. Then after that, we have a side tag. In this side tag, what we keep is the sidebar. You may have seen this in a lot of websites. Then we have the footer. Inside the footer, we have the bottom section, which usually contains copyright, links, etc. We have a lot of more semantic HTML tags, but these are the important ones which we are going to refer in our next session when we will create the project. And inside that, we will be using some of these and maybe some others as well. Let us create a folder with the name 01 underscore HTML underscore resume. This project is a resume which will be made entirely with HTML, and it is our first project, so this is where this name comes from. So inside this we will create one file which we generally name as index.html. And also I recommend one more file which is this picture. You can use your own profile picture and you can remove its background by using one website remove.bg, which I have also used, but if you wish you can use any other website as well. After you get this picture, put it in the same folder where our index.html is located. So once that profile.png is ready, and I recommend using this png format only, because then inside our code also we will be using the same format. So if you remember from our previous video, we made use of emit. If we write exclamation mark and then hit tab, it will auto complete a lot of code. But for the purpose of understanding, I will just write everything from scratch. Doc type HTML. This means that we have this HTML5 document, and then is the HTML tag. We have this opening and closing HTML tag, and inside this one is head tag, and the another one is the body tag. And inside our head tag is the meta description. Name is description, content is, maybe I will copy it. Okay, that is fine. And then I will close this. We can type it out. So after we have all this, we have a title. It will be shown on the browser tab. Let us open this file in the browser. As you may remember from previous video, we need to copy the path of this file, go to browser, then open new tab, paste this and hit enter. We will not see anything inside our page because we have not written anything inside body yet. If I write anything, maybe hello, and save the file, refresh the page, we will see it right here. We already have the title. This one is a PDF for our reference, and this one is what we are building right now. Let us remove this, and here you can see we do not have anything right now, but I want it to be our logo or our profile picture. So for that I will make use of fav icon, and to insert fav icon we need link tag. I will type link, then rel is equal to icon, and type is image png. Href is where this image is located, and this is located in the same folder, so profile.png. It will also suggest to you, and then we will close this, save it, go to the browser, refresh the page, and you can see it right here. So these things are just for the SEO purpose, means if anyone wants to search for your resume, if they enter this, they will be able to find it on the internet. For example, if I show you view the page source, you can see it is already visible here. This is inside our browser, it is visible here, and all these things are visible here. So browser can already see all of these things, although the users cannot. So now let us come to the body section, or maybe for now I can remove this description because we do not need it for now. This is very simple, it is just a few lines only. So inside the body, first of all we will have a header, and I will give this as a role of banner. Inside it I will have table tag. Why table? Let us understand it a little bit. We have to see this is on the one side, and then we have one thing here, and then another thing here, and then few things are here. So in order to make it that way, it is already a table like view. So in order to make it that way, otherwise we will not be able to do it with only HTML. If we want to do it only with HTML, then we have to use table here. So now let us do it first, and after that we will understand what exactly we did. So we have the table, after that we have table row, table data, inside table data image, and the source, that is profile, and it will also suggest alt would be profile image. Okay, we will first see. So this is what happened. So the image looks very big. I will put some width which would be 100, and now we can see it looks a lot better. And then we have another table data which will be h1, that is our name. And then I will use paragraph tag and I paste it, and here this part, if you see, it is bold. First we will see what we got. I will refresh the page, and this is what we got, but we have two problems here. This we need as bold text, and also we need this part in next line. So you already know we have to wrap this inside strong tag and then a line break. So we have got it as we wanted, and after that we have the links. For those links I will use one more tag which is relatively newer to you. It is address. And if you are unaware of any tag, what you can do is you have to hover your mouse over the tag, and it will give you the description whatever it is. So I will not tell you about this tag, you will read this and type in comments what you understand what it is. So after that, inside this we have the a tag. First thing is our email, that is mail. So something at example.com. Then I will copy this same thing and paste it right here and save it, and then we will see what our result comes out to be. Yes, that is what we want. And then we have phone number, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Next is phone, that is Dell, and then we have phone number 123456789. This is the phone number. I will use same here, and then we have LinkedIn. I will copy it from here, copy link address, paste it right here. YouTube, for that I will copy the link from here, and then this is YouTube. So that is it for our address section, and we will see what it looks like now. Yeah, this is fine, but in case if you want some space in between these, you can select one of this closing tag and then type command D 3 times, and then use the arrow key and space, then ampersand NBSP, which means non-breakable space. So if I refresh this, you can now see there are spaces in between. So after that we have this line. For that, what we have to do is we will go below this header and type HR, which means horizontal rule. Okay, now that we are done with this banner section, what we are going to do next is the main section. Our main section will contain 5 section tags. So I will do it something like this. Inside those h2, so you can already see how it will look like. What I typed is I need section 5 times, and then inside each section I will need one h2. So I will hit tab and it auto completes all of this. First of all, we have professional summary. Then next we have key skills. The next one would be education. Next is projects, and the next one would be, let us check it here. Okay, certifications and achievements. and we have one more. So I will select this part and I will press option shift down arrow. It will replicate these liners, and then I will have interests also. So let us have a look at it first, how it looks. Also I will put some blank liners in between these. So let us refresh this. You can see we have this horizontal line and we have this professional summary and all these other headings as well. Let us see what we have inside our professional summary. Inside our professional summary we have this paragraph. So we will type p, paste all of this, and then you have to see we have this one as bold, this one as bold, and this one as bold. So you already know we use strong tag for bold. So for full stack developer, close the tag and then put Python. So this is how it looks. And also make sure that you look at these colors and other things. See, it uses blue color for this thing and it uses white color for this. So you have to make sure that it is properly set. Otherwise, if the color is not matching properly and if it is here and there, then the thing is it will not work properly for you. Maybe it will show you something else as bold, or something else will happen. So in order to make it work properly, you have to match these colors with whatever I am doing here. It should be also strong. Now if we check here, yes, that is what we want. So for the key colors, you should immediately notice that these are the unordered list items. We do not have anything like 1 2 3 or 4 like that way. So these are the unordered list items. The unordered list items, then we have front end, back end, database, and all these things. And we have 5 list items. So let us multiply it by 5 and hit enter. We have strong tag front end, strong tag, and then this will be back end, strong tag, database. What is next? Tools and platforms, and then we have soft colors. Tools and platforms, soft colors. So this is what we have inside the strong tag. After that, okay, let me show you first how it looks. This is how it looks. Now we have in the regular text, we have to type all of the other things. For example, this we will copy from here. So you can copy the same things because you are also going to learn these things. This is HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, TypeScript, React, Next.js. All these things we are going to learn in this series. So do not worry about that. You can type the same things, and also we can type these things in the back, and maybe I can add here Express.js, and then inside databases we can type this, and maybe one cache db as well, which is Redis, which we are also going to learn. And then next is github. We will copy and paste it right here, and actually you got the idea what we are doing. And also this is soft colors, which obviously you will gain from this channel if you are subscriber, so that you can watch upcoming videos where we build some more interesting things. Maybe I will format it first. So that is it. So we have this section for key colors, and inside this colors we have front end inside the strong tag, and then we have these colors, and then similarly we have backend, database, and corresponding things with that. So now let us refresh the page. So if you are confused at this point, if you feel this does not look very similar to this one, then I encourage you to press Command P, or if you are inside Windows, then press Windows P for print, and then you will see this thing, and it looks very much similar to what we have in our PDF, this one. Now let us move to the education section, which is right here. So we have various options for this, what we can use for this, but here I want to introduce, and again I think I should be giving it to you to read about this, what this tag is. This does not make sense to you, then you can click on this MDN reference where you can read more about this tag. Okay, actually we have to wrap this one in DL. So we have DL and DT and then DD. So I will put some data inside it. The data would be this, and then this is inside here. Our education section looks the same as what we have in the PDF. So the next thing is projects. Projects is once again an ordered list, but here I think I should use ordered list, so that we will have one exercise of ordered list as well. Although this is not required, you can keep it as an ordered list. So I will copy this whole thing at once, paste it. This is one list item, and then this is another list item, and then this is another list item. I put all of these three inside the list items. Now if I go inside our browser and refresh it, you can see we already have projects, and this is the first project, then second project, and then third project. But inside our PDF we can see we have this as bold. Also this, the name of these is bold. Wrap this inside strong tag. This is name of the project, we will keep it inside the strong tag. Then also this one inside the strong tag. So once this is done, we can refresh inside our browser and already see the difference. Now we have just two sections remaining. One section is certifications and achievements, where we are going to do it now. This is also the unordered list, and inside this we have li 2 timers, and then I will paste it right here. Then I will copy this one and paste it right here. So now this looks fine to me. And after that we have interests. For that I will do it inside the p tag. So refresh the page, and this is how it looks now. If I press the print command now, you can see it looks more like the resume we already have. The final thing we have is this bottom section, which would be more like a footer section. Okay, I think we have one line first. Okay, after closing this main section, I will type hr and then footer. Inside this footer will have p tag. Okay, this is one copyright symbol. I will not copy that. I will tell you something more about it. We have and copy. This is known as HTML entity. We already saw that space one, that is also HTML entity. This is also HTML entity. Here I will use one more HTML entity, which would be, yeah, I like this one. For copyright I used this HTML entity, and for the heart symbol I used this. So now let us see what our resulting HTML page is. For that I will go inside the browser, I will refresh this page, and we already have this at the bottom. If I print this page, yeah, now you can see it already looks more like this resume. And what I am going to do is I will save this page. Once I save it, go to new tab, search for ATS resume check, and then maybe check with some free website, whatever it is, maybe this one. I think this one is free. Yeah, then I will upload my resume, whatever I downloaded just now. Oh, that is really great. So this is our resume check. We did it from this website, and you can already see it has 80 score. We just built it with HTML, but this is still a great score, and you can already see there is a great tag here. So this is what we did in this video. So I'm really impressed with the score. So for that, for those words, I want you to practice it. And maybe if you followed me along during building this, that is great thing, because this will give you enough practice. And if you did not, then I want you to watch it again and type it with me. So that way you will be able to build it in the second try. You will try to do it by yourself. Even if you do not remember all of these things, just keep your PDF with you. So I will keep the PDF version here. You can download it from GitHub now, resume.pdf. Even if you cannot recreate it by yourself, just try to do whatever you can and share it with me on maybe LinkedIn and tag me there. Write a post on LinkedIn, whatever you can do. You already have my LinkedIn, that is here. Before we start, let me recommend a couple of VS Code extensions that are useful for us. So the first extension would be Live Server. If it is not already installed, just install it. And then the next one would be Prettier. This is the code formatter for Visual Studio Code. So if you have both of these ready, then we are good to go. Next thing we have to understand is what accessibility actually means. Let us start with a simple question. What is accessibility? In web development, accessibility means making sure our websites can be used by everyone, including people with visual, hearing, mobility, or cognitive difficulties. Good accessibility improves the experience for every user, not just a few. It also improves SEO and helps search engines understand your web pages better. Now let us talk about the two pillars of accessibility we will use today. One is the semantic HTML, which we already saw in previous videos as well, and the another one is the keyboard navigation. Semantic HTML means using meaningful tags like header, nav, main, section, article, footer, aside, figure, and so on. These tags give a structure to your content. They help browsers, search engines, and assistive technologies understand what each part of your page represents. Keyboard navigation is equally important. Some users browse the entire web page using only keyboard. If your website works smoothly with the tab key, arrow keys, and enter key, your accessibility score instantly becomes better. So these two things, semantics and keyboard flow, create the foundation of accessible page. Now let us switch to VS Code and write a little code to understand how ARIA labels and roles work. We already built our resume page, so I will scroll to the top and show you something. You see, we have a tab icon in the head section. This is also a semantic part of our document setup. It helps us browsers identify your site, but we would not spend much time on it as we already have done it in the previous video. So let us focus on accessibility attributes. The one thing we have is the alt text, which we also saw in the previous video, but here we will have a look at it once again. First, every image must have an alt attribute. Our resume has a profile image, so we have written this alt equal to and this text. This helps screen readers understand what the image actually represents. Then we have ARIA labels. ARIA stands for Accessible Rich Internet Applications. You should use ARIA only when HTML cannot express meaning by itself. For example, if currently we have social media links where we clearly say it is YouTube and this one is LinkedIn. But if we had logos for that, for example, instead of YouTube text, we had the logo. At that time, we would be using the ARIA label. So we would add it like this, the ARIA label equal to my YouTube profile, and that way assistive technologies clearly announce it as profile link. The next is the role attribute. Many HTML elements already come with built-in roles like header, main, nav, and footer. But if you have a generic div or span that performs something special, you can assign a role to clarify its purpose. For example, if we had a custom element acting like a button, I could write role equal to button. But on our resume page, most elements are already semantic, so we do not need to force additional roles. Whenever possible, choose a semantic tag instead of a div. Your code becomes cleaner, easier to read, and more accessible by default. Try to make this as a habit. Over time, it becomes second nature. Now, let us test the keyboard navigation. But before that, I want you to open our resume page, which we built in the previous video with live server. For that, I will right click on the file and open with live server. And it should open your page in your web browser. So once you have it, I will start pressing the tab key. You will notice that the tab order moves across the links in a natural sequence. That is great, but what if we want to change this behavior? For example, what if I want the tab key to focus on my profile image first? We can add tab index attribute to control order. So if I write tab index equal to 1 on my image and tab index equal to 2 on the next element, for example, my name, h1 tag, the browser will follow this custom order. Use this only when you have a strong reason, because having a natural flow is usually better. Now let us run an accessibility check using Lighthouse. You can find it inside DevTools. I will open DevTools by right clicking on the page, then choose Inspector, and here in the options I will choose Lighthouse tab. But before you do this, make sure that you have opened the page with live server, because most of the things in the Lighthouse tab will work only if you have opened it with live server. Now I will click on Analyze Page Load, probably for all of these. That is fine. This gives us a quick score. It will quickly check for the score along with the suggestions. Do not worry if it is not giving you 100 out of 100. This goal is not to chase numbers, but to understand and improve real issues. If Lighthouse highlights missing labels or incorrect structure, fix those directly in your HTML, and that should make your page better. So that is it for today's accessibility and semantics section. Let us start by creating a file with the same structure as in the previous one. So we will type 02 underscore links.html. Type exclamation mark and accept this autocomplete from Emmet. Change the title to HTML links. Inside our body, we will type h1 and HTML links. Save the file And if you remember, I suggested you this live server extension. Just go and install it if you have not already. So once you have it, click on this go live button. This will open the file inside your browser. Let us have a look at how a basic anchor tag looks like. So I will type A, then hit tab, which auto completes this tag. For me, this tag means we want a link which refers to any other page in our local system or anywhere in the internet. So for now, I will link it to our intro.html file, which we have created in one of our previous videos. And here I will type intro file. And then we will go inside our browser and see this is what we have. We have intro file, which is a link, and if we click on it, we are navigated to the page we built in one of our previous videos. So let us go back and understand the types of links. So the first link which we already saw is the internal link, because this link refers to the file inside our project. The another type of link we may have is the external link. So for example, we have another anchor tag. Let us go inside our YouTube playlist. Click on share, then copy this link. Once we have this link, we will paste it right here and type our front-end playlist. Save it and go back to our page. We have our front-end playlist, but it is on the same line. So let us do a few line breakers. Now it is nice and clean. So this link is the external link because this refers to the external resource. So we can click on this and it takes us to the playlist which we have. The another categorization for these links we have is absolute versus relative links. So what this means, for that I have created one graph for you which explains what this actually is. So for example, a person wants to travel from position 5 to position 3. What you can tell them is go back one step and then go to 3. That is the clean way of telling it. That is relative because you are telling them to go back and you must know the location where they are. Then only you can tell them to go back and then go to 3. But there is one more thing which is absolute URL. It means you will tell them location from the root. For example, from 1 to 2 to 4 and to 3. That is how they can reach the 3. So in summary, just remember that relative URL is based on your current location and absolute URL is complete path from the root. So if I ask you, is this an absolute URL or a relative URL? This is obviously a relative URL. And is this an absolute or relative URL? This is absolute URL because this is not dependent on our current location. This one is dependent. If this file is not located in the same folder, then this link will not work. Now we have attributes. For that, let us take one more anchor tag. Let us have a link to profile image. And if you remember, inside our projects, we had one profile image. Type a few breaks here, then navigate to our browser, and here is our profile image. If I click on this, you can see it opens, which is fine. But sometimes we do not want this behavior. We want browser to download the image instead of viewing it. So this download attribute instructs browsers to download a URL instead of navigating. So if I save this file and go back to our HTML links file inside our browser, we will click on this. You can see it starts downloading this file instead of viewing it inside the browser. Another attribute we have is maybe useful right here. For example, what is happening currently is that if I click on front-end playlist, it is making use of the similar tab, the same tab where our page was open. But what I want is I want this page as it is and open this one inside our new tab. For that, we can make use of target. I will type target equal to underscore blank. Once I do that, if I click on this, you can see our page remains as it is and it opens our front-end playlist in the next tab. And this takes us to one of the very important thing, which is spoofing. If you notice it so far, we can have anything here and then any different thing here. For example, let us have google.com here and then we will have, for example, inside our extras, like this way, we will have breaks here. Inside our browser, we have google.com, which seems to be fine. But if I click on this link, oh, I am hacked. But no, this is just a placeholder page. And these things might happen. Every website is not safe. So you should know which website is trustworthy. So where this comes from, how this happened, inside our extras, we have this hack.html. You can find this inside our GitHub repository, inside this extras folder, and you can find all of this code. Whenever we are visiting any link inside any website, we should first see where it navigates. For example, we have google.com. It shows us at the bottom of this page that where it is going to navigate. Once you see this, if it is where you want to go, then fine. Otherwise, you should refrain from clicking it. You should not click on this link. You may be familiar with this page. This is the Google search page. The most important thing is not this Google logo or any buttons right there. The most important thing is this search bar, where we type anything and it gives us the results. For example, I type this and hit enter, it gives us the result. So let us try to recreate this with a very few lines of code. For that, I am going to skip out the basic structure and let the browser handle it by the default. So I will type just the form tag, get the auto suggested code. Then I will type here https://google.com/search. And then here I will type input, give it a name that is Q. So what this name is, actually it is a query parameter, and we will learn more about query parameters in our JavaScript sessions. But here just note that this is the code what is required to build the form which is inside the Google search page. So now to open this, we will right click on this and copy the file path and open it inside our browser. So this is how our search page looks like. We have this form field and we can enter the text inside it. So I will type and hit the enter, and you can see our form is actually working, and here you can see it gives us all the results what we are searching for, especially our channel. I will start with this boilerplate code, and here I will paste the code which we already wrote, just in case if you want to refer to this code later on from GitHub. So now we are going to build our registration form, which will help you to understand a lot of concepts about HTML forms. Type form, it is not going anywhere, so we will type hash. Before this form tag, we will type h1 and then registration form. The first input would be a username. Type input. Before writing these lines of code, remember that a form is not just for collecting data, a form is for collecting the correct data. So for those things, we will be giving them the proper names. For this one, we will have username, ID would be username. And this input should have a label, username. And then here we have to show some text that would be username. To make typing all of this simple, I have shown it in one of our past short videos that how to create custom snippets in VS Code, so that you will not have to type all of this again and again. Check out that short video and create your own snippets. If you are stuck anywhere, just let me know in the comments or message inside our Discord server, the link for which you will find in the description. If you wish, you can add few more attributes. For example, placeholder, username, so required. So this one will be for our username. And then we have the next one, email. The email input may look something similar. So I will just copy this and paste it right here. Then this would be email. Here it would be also email. So we have this for email, and here ID should match this for, and also the type we have email, name is also email. So that is for the email. The next thing is the password. And I will paste the same code here. Press Ctrl D or Command D few times in order to get these multiple cursors, and then type password. Here also password. These are the few types which you can use here, such as email, password, and text. For example, type equal to search. Then after this one, we can have gender. And here, this is a radio button. Means you can select one of the options. For example, here I will choose a different style for this. I will not keep this for. Inside this, I will type the input. And this input is of type radio, and here the name would be gender. Then we may have value. Value is also one attribute for these, so we can have male, and this is useful when submitting the form, what value would be submitted. And then here we may type out male, and similarly we create multiple of these. I selected one and then press Alt Shift down arrow, which copies all of these multiple times. Here I will type female, and here also I will type female, and then other. The next form field we can have is interests. Why I am doing this kind of form fields is because we can learn how various kinds of form fields work. We will see the output of all of these as well. So okay, I will start the live server for this file. I will right click and start the live server, and let us see what we have for now. And you can see we have these form fields. I feel you already know what is missing. That is the line breaks here, and then here, then here. So now our registration form looks something like this. We have username, email, password, and then these radio buttons. Before these radio buttons, I will type a paragraph tag, and here I will type gender. And now we have gender, and then we can select one of these. If we click on these labels, it focuses on these input fields. Why is that happening? It is because these labels are connected to the corresponding inputs. So we have the interests, but we will not forget this inside the paragraph tag, interests. Then we will have the similar pattern as we did for our radio buttons label. Inside these label, we are going to wrap our inputs. So we will have input, and the type would be checkbox, because we need to select more than one. Here we can select only one. Inside the gender, we should be able to select only one, but here inside the interests, we should be able to select multiple of these. And then we will have name, which will be interests. Value will be coding, the first one, and here we will type coding. And then we will have multiple of these, and here we will type design, then maybe gaming. So once we have these, let us check from our browser. We have these gender, which if I select male, I can only select male. If I select female, the male would be automatically deselected. So we can select only one of the options. But inside the interests, we can select coding as well as the design and gaming. So we can select the multiple options. The next thing we can see is the number field. It would be the age. It is number. So we will use a similar pattern as we did for the text fields. I am going to copy the first one, couple of breaks here, and then I will paste it right here. This would be age. We will keep this type as number. We do not need this required and placeholder because here we are going to do something interesting, that is minimum and maximum. We can use minimum is what value we should have. We will keep the value as 10 because no person filling this form would be under the age of 10, and then we have maximum value which can be maybe 100. So let us save this and see. We have got this number field. You can already see it looks very much different than what we have here. We have these arrow icons. I can click on them and you can already see it does not let me go under 10. If I try to increase it, it will not increase, and even if I try to type something, it will not accept. Later on it will reject when we submit this form. After that, we have date of birth field. Actually, we do not need if we ask a user for their age. We do not need to ask them for the date of birth. But here we are going to understand how a date of birth field would look like. So we will ask them date of birth as well. So for that, I will type date of birth here. And here we will paste out the same which we have. I will name it as DOB, and here this would be of type date. We do not need these placeholder and required things, and you can already see we have this date of birth. For example, we can select this date. Then we can have a look at another field which would be the country field, and this would be select drop down. Here we will have the select tag, and inside the name we will have country, and then ID would be country. Then inside this selector, we need to use the option. For example, the first one would be the empty value. Here would be this select your country. And then we will have the options for the countries. For example, let us have India, Indonesia, USA, UK, and others. At the end of this, we will type a couple of breaks, save the file, and here we will see select your country, where we can select any of these countries, and then we can submit the form once we select the proper country. Then the next field we would have is file. Sometimes we want the users to upload their profile picture. For that, we will have the file field. We will use label, then this will be maybe profile picture, upload profile picture, and then here we will have input of type file. Here we do not want the users to upload any random files, any PDF or any video files. We only want to accept the image files. Any kind of image file, it may be PNG, JPG, JPEG, and others. And as you know, we use this name attribute, so we will use it here as well. And then at the end, we will use a couple of breaks, and let us have a look at it. I think we need a break here as well. So this is what it looks like. So we can upload any file from our file explorer if we have any PNG file. So here I uploaded one. This is how it looks. So after that, we can have maybe any field which contains a lot of text. For example, bio or maybe about, where user can type something about themselves. It can be a kind of a paragraph of text. For that, we can use text area, and here we will name it as about. ID would be about. Then we can also specify how many rows it will have. So for example, 4, and then maybe we will have placeholder, and we will have a label for this as well, and here it would be about. Let us have a look how it looks like. Type break here and a couple of breaks here as well. So you can already see it looks very much nice, and also we can resize it. We can make it of any size by dragging it from its corner. So we can type something here. So this is how it looks like. We had a look at different type of fields. A username field, the email you have already seen in our previous sessions. I can type, for example, so like this way. By the way, this is not my email. And we can type anything in the password, and then we can choose gender. Then we can select this, then age. Then we can select the DOB. Then we can select our country, and then we can choose any profile picture. Then we can type out this about section, and also we could have one submit button as well. For that, we can type input type is submit, and maybe value could be do not submit. So make sure to practice each input type that we learned here in this session. That is how you will build a real confidence. And if you want to try something fun, modify this registration form and create your own version. Add more fields or rearrange the structure. Share your results in the comments or maybe tag me on LinkedIn. That would be even better. Congratulations, you now have a solid grasp of HTML, but you might have noticed something. Our pages still look a bit plain. That is because HTML handles the structure, but CSS handles the style. To set you up for success, I have included this next section to introduce you to the box model, the most important concept for understanding and building layouts. This is your bridge to the next level. So our web pages are built with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So far, we learned about HTML, although we did not learn it in a great detail, but enough to get started with CSS. And just for your idea, we are not leaving HTML, we are just starting HTML with CSS. And later on, when we reach JavaScript, we will be learning HTML with CSS and JavaScript. So that is the approach we are taking. So let us start with the box model. The box model is the way browsers calculate the size and layout of every HTML element. You already know we have different types of HTML elements, such as we may have div, span, section or anything. So each element is treated as a rectangular box made of 4 areas from inside out. The first thing is content. Then after that, the spacing between the content and the outer border, that is this spacing, so that content will not touch it, which makes it feel better and nice. For example, we have this explore. This explore is right here. There is a gap between the border and the text itself. That is the padding. This gap is known as padding. Then we have this outside box, and this box is called the border. For example, if we see on this YouTube page, we have this border right here on this sign in. If you can see it, we have some ring around it, which is a border. And after that, we have spacing around this box. Maybe in case of YouTube, we have spacing right here on the top of the sign in button and on this side of the sign in button. So this sign in is the content, the space around it is padding, and this ring around it is border. The empty space around this whole button is margin. So I hope these 4 things are already clear. So how you can remember it is, first of all, inside the box we have content, then around that content we have padding, and then outside of that padding we have the border, and then outside of this whole box we have the margin. So that is the story of every HTML element. You can call it a box for now. Every box has content, padding, border and margin. Content, padding, border, margin. That is it. If you remember it, you are good to go for the next thing. So how we do all of these things? It is with the CSS. So what is CSS? CSS is a style sheet language used to describe the presentation of HTML documents. HTML documents are built with these boxes, and these boxes are internally built with CSS. So we can say that the HTML documents are designed with CSS. It specifies how elements are rendered on screen by controlling layout, colors, font, spacing and visual effects. So all those things are controlled with CSS. So in order to understand this box model in more depth, I will create one UI right here. Almost a lot of UIs have this kind of thing. For example, at this place, maybe then for example, we have few options right here. And then maybe here we have a navbar. And then inside here we have some content. So this is our web page. You have to build this page. So by understanding box model, how will you do this? In order to create this thing, I will shrink it down. We will try to make it right here. First of all, let us make a box. This is the outer box. So now as a developer, what we should see? For example, if I see YouTube, any layman would say that there are few items here and then this is something here and here we have few more things and maybe they will randomly see it. But from our developer perspective, we should have a clear look at it. And so how we look at it is like this. Everything is a box. So if you can see even these 3 dots right here is a box. So everything what we have is a box. So if a layman sees this YouTube page, what they will see is this. But what we as a developer should see is this. So there is a difference. what we see and what a layman sees. How we should look at this, we will see that. So for that, what I want you to do is divide your UI into two parts. What I see is that there are two boxes. One is this box and the another one is this part. So just see and think if you are able to understand this part. I see inside the main box there are two boxes. So I am going to divide it accordingly. And then after that, if I see this left part, we have two parts inside it. I will divide it into two parts. The top part is for image and the bottom part is for menu items. So you have to draw only one line at a time. Whatever UI you are trying to create, just create these boxes first and then try to write it with code. And we will do the same. Let us first understand this and then I will show you how to write code accordingly. After creating this, I will divide the box on the right side into two parts. One part is this above part and the another is this part. I will divide this box into two parts because there are two items right here. So this is the actual UI. Let us understand how we can make this UI. I will remove everything from this page and first of all we have this big box. So I will write it here. We have a box. So we have a box. I will divide it into two parts, two boxes. One box is from left side and another box is from right. That means that inside this pseudocode, I will type that inside this big box, I created two boxes. So now I will divide the left box, which is the first one. The left box here, I will divide it into two boxes. So one is our image and another is the menu options. So that is what I will do inside our pseudocode. This is space for menu and this is space for image. Then after that, we have another box, which is from the right side. We divided it into two more boxes. The first box would be navbar and the another one we will keep again as box because we have to divide it further. Let us name this one as box because we have to place few more items inside this. We have two divisions for this one now. So I will do the divisions right here. So we will have two boxes here. So that is our code. We converted this UI to the visual representation, which is boxes. And then we converted those boxes into the pseudo code. If you are able to do this much, then you are good to go. Now let us see if we can create the boxes for this UI as well. If we are able to create the boxes for this UI, then we will be able to clone this UI as well with our HTML and CSS code. I will create one box. So what do you think? Write in comments for my next step. What do you think? What division we can make? If I would have to make the division, I would make it like this way. But maybe this does not come to your mind and something else comes to your mind. Maybe this thing comes to your mind, which is totally okay. There is no problem with that. And I will keep this division. For example, you see this can be divided further. This has two divisions. One is this logo and the another is search and these things. And then this box can be further divided into two parts. Then we have this bottom box, two divisions right there. One is this menu options and another is this part, this content part. Even this box can be further divided into two parts. For example, one is this part where it is the description of this playlist. Then we have videos for the playlist. And then we can even further divide these links. So this is how we divided it. For example, even we can divide it further. If you wish, you can keep this image separate and then this is the content. Or even you can make the further division for this thing. This is the description and then we have these buttons. And even this box can be divided further. You can keep this is the button and then we have some empty space under it. So this is how we divide these things. I hope you understood this very well. You can see this is the UI of the YouTube. And now it is very easy to build. We can write a div and inside that we can write two divs where we have one navbar and another is this, and that is very easy now. But what I want you to do is take your favorite website and then annotate over it and draw this kind of thing and then share the screenshot on our Discord server. There is a showcase channel inside our Discord server. Share the screenshot and I will evaluate it for you. I will provide you suggestions, whatever you need to improve and whatever you need to rethink of. And that is a wrap on the HTML crash course. You have officially built your foundation, but we are just getting started. This video is part of my full zero to full stack journey. The next step is to master CSS so we can turn these skeletons into beautiful modern websites. I have linked the full front end playlist right here on the screen. Click that and I will see you in the next video to start building real layouts. Do not forget to subscribe if you learned something new today. Happy coding!